Gaetz of Florida joins me now. Congressman, here's my question. It doesn't seem like there is yet the consensus necessary within your caucus in the House to actually have a plan. Is that correct?
Well, we have a blueprint, Chris, and that blueprint will make a tax code that's a lot simpler, a lot more fair for the American people. It'll bring back more than $1 trillion in cash that's housed overseas, and it'll lead to rising wages and more opportunity for the American people to prosper.
Here's my question about that. We tax wages. There's all sorts of ways that we directly tax wages. The argument that I'm getting from the White House and others is that we got to cut the corporate rate, which is actually paid at the level of capital, to get wages up. But that seems like a weird Rube Goldberg machine. You guys could just cut taxes on wages if you wanted to cut taxes on wages.
Well, we're going to cut taxes for all Americans. We're going to cut taxes for individuals. But, Chris, one of the main things that throws a wet blanket over our economy is that we've got one of the highest corporate tax rates in the world.
No, I know that's
that drives jobs overseas. It limits our ability to be competitive. I get that's the argument.
But here's the thing. You just said you're going to cut taxes for all Americans. But here's the Rubik's Cube I can't solve. You got to raise taxes for someone somewhere unless you're going to expand the deficit, right? So there's two ways this can happen. You can get reform, which is deficit neutral, which means some taxes go down, some taxes go up, or you can get a deficit finance tax cut that's going to blow up the deficit. But you got to choose between those two, and it's unclear which of those two you are all pursuing.
Well, we don't have to have more taxes and higher taxes. We need more taxpayers, and we'll have more compliance with a system that's fair.
Right, but
so actually, by lowering rates, we can increase revenue for the government, because right now we've got a lot of people who don't make any contribution, and when 9 out of every 10 Americans can fill out their taxes on a postcard, we think we'll get more compliance, more revenue for the government, and ultimately we'll have the opportunity to lower rates for Americans to achieve their dreams.
But that's not an answer to the question, right?
Sure it is.
Well, some rates are going to go up, right? So there's some talk about getting rid of the state and local tax deduction.
There's loopholes that need to go away.
Well,
look, there's a lot of special interests.
Respectfully, loophole is in the eye of the beholder. You should tell the people watching right now that the mortgage interest deduction is a loophole.
Pro sports leagues have a loophole. Do you really think that pro sports leagues and the millionaires and billionaires associated with them?
No, get rid of that.
They have benefits.
Right, get rid of that. But you're not going to.
But that's an example.
You and I both know you're not.
The president has supported.
I know.
I do believe that we're going to get rid of the loopholes that are enjoyed by professional sports leagues and a lot of other loopholes that are in the tax code, because we've got a 70,000-page tax code that doesn't benefit most Americans.
Sure.
It benefits the special interests.
Right, like people that say pay the estate tax, which is 0.2% of households who have more than $5 million in assets, whose taxes are going to be cut by what you're proposing, while someone that maybe lives in a city that has fairly high taxes is going to see their taxes go up if you get rid of the state and local deduction. You see, the problem here is that there's going to be someone...
In high-tax states and in high-tax municipalities, yeah, things are worse. You know what? States that have really high taxes should cut them, and then that will even supercharge and greater leverage the tax reform that we're doing here in Washington.
Although California is doing okay economically, fairly high taxes. But explain to me why is it? I mean, when you're going to go out there, and I'm just telling you what the Democrats are going to say, like Chuck Schumer, right? So the plan is going to drop, and they're going to say, there's, out of 487 people that die, one person's going to pay the estate tax, right? It's about 0.2% who has $5 million in assets. You're going to cut taxes for them, and to make it deficit neutral, someone's taxes are going to go up. Why should taxes go up on anyone to pay for a person who's got $5 million in assets who just died?
Well, I would be perfectly okay raising taxes on pro sports leagues if it meant that we weren't double taxing people when they die. I think it's terribly unfair that we take money that people have already paid taxes on and that we tax them again at death.
But
that's ludicrous.
That's the crazy thing. You can't double tax a person who doesn't exist. And when they die, definitionally, they're not a person anymore. You see the problem there.
Well, but the money that someone makes in a family business or on a family farm, oftentimes they want to be able to pass on the next generation. That's kind of one of the essential elements of the American dream, is ensuring that the next generation is better off. And if we do what the liberals want, we impair the next generation.
But I want to be clear. You think that a crucial part of the American dream is for people with more than $5 million in assets, the top 0.2%, to pass on the full total of the amount of money they made to their heirs. That's the American dream.
you cast it so incorrectly. Family farms, small businesses are often pass-throughs that are individual.
I know,
in
you
nature,
guys love the family farm example.
Revenue, well, that's a prime example. Look, the death tax has really killed family farms in this country. You want to know why we've gone away from family farms and more towards corporate farming that you and other liberals have railed against? It's because we have the death tax.
It is not because of the estate tax. Here's the thing, though. Fundamentally, here's what I want to know on the record. When all is said and done, I know you guys have a blueprint. It's going to come out. Is it going to be deficit neutral? Like, is that the idea that, like, whatever goes up on one side of the ledger comes down the other and vice versa, a la 86?
Well, that depends on how much spending we cut. The House of Representatives passed a budget that cuts more entitlement spending than any Congress since Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton worked out welfare
I'm going to
reform.
make a prediction now. Wait, I'm going to make a prediction now, and I want you back in the program when the prediction comes true or doesn't come true so you can lord it over me. That won't happen. The deficit will go up. And
well, I'm going to keep fighting for it. I'm going to keep fighting for conservative spending cuts and conservative tax reform.
You come back, and we'll see who's right about this. Congressman Matt Gaetz, thanks for taking time.
Thank you, Chris.
Still to come, why did a